Hello and welcome to Gloves Off number 8, Board the Platforms. I am your host, Chris ZX, here with my trusty co-host, Koopa.
There's a baby crying.
Yeah, I think I heard him a little bit. But and then actually that's the usual cast today. It's literally just me and Koopa, and then we do have a couple special guests today. The first one being Air Gordon.
Hello.
Yep, so for anyone who doesn't know Air Gordon, and I'll let him introduce himself in a moment, but he is a regular for New Jersey Smash events. He is and a great person to have on today's cast, which is going to be about platform fighters in general, because he also goes out to Rivals tournaments, stuff like that. But before we get into that, I do want to introduce one more, our good friend from Philadelphia, Musty.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Musty. So, yeah. And
that was a pretty on-brand intro.
Yeah.
It actually kind of was. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with Musty, you could find him at twitch.tv/bros_calamity quite often. He is a regular in the Philadelphia area for Smash events. And honestly, I'd see him at quite a bit of New Jersey events too. And again, he's a guy who plays other fighting games that aren't just Smash Bros. So between him and Air Gordon, we'll have some pretty valuable insight into that. But as I've already mentioned, today's episode is all about platform fighters. And for anyone unfamiliar with platform fighters, it's really quite simple. They're fighting games that are based on platform stages. And the idea is a little bit different than your traditional fighting game. It's essentially you hit your opponent enough to where their damage builds up, and the objective is to knock them off of the platforms that you're fighting on to take out what would be one of their lives. And this was basically a type of gameplay that was introduced by Smash 64 and Nintendo years back. But before we really get into that, there's going to be a ton of other platform fighters out there in existence now, which is why I'm kind of outlining the topic. You'll see ones from indie developers. We've seen ones, actually PlayStation copied the idea a few years ago. We'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, it's pretty popular fighting game style. And I guess, you know what, I'm going to turn it over to Musty first. Since you do have a lot of experience with Smash and with other platform fighters, why don't you tell us even just like what's out there in terms of platform fighters?
In terms of platform fighters, well, I mean, like, I could just list off games to you, or do you want me to talk about like what makes a platform fighter a platform fighter?
You know what, actually, yeah, how about we talk about what makes a platform fighter a platform fighter? Because I didn't really go into that very much.
Okay, so a platform fighter basically is, well, I mean, obviously it's a fighting game, one versus one, you beat up the other player, but it's a little different from a traditional fighting game, and if you watch Smash, you basically know most of this, is that you have to knock your opponent off the stage. The more percent you gain, the further you go, and that's how you build your combo game and your kill potential. And that's pretty much just a general outline, but what makes it work is you can be a lot more creative. Like, while there are less moves than, let's say, like an anime fighter like Under Night and Birth or something, where every character has like 12 different normals and like 5 different specials. In this game, there's like 4 ground normals, like 5 air normals, and 5 special moves, if you count both side specials as individual moves. And there's obviously DI, where depending on which way you're holding, you will change the direction you go mid combo, and then the opponent has to read that, and it just becomes a guessing game at that point. But that's what makes it so creative, is that you have this small move set, but what you can do with it is so vast that it's just the most creative type of game that you could play competitively.
Right. So you touched upon a couple terminology there that I want to clear up, and as you just kind of cleared up there, you said that there's basically almost not a limited move set, but very basic in terms of you have normal attacks, you have special attacks, and really the only thing it really takes to perform any of these things are essentially what direction you're pressing on the joystick and a button. But you have all of these different games that are essentially the same style, where you're tacking up percent just to knock out your opponents, and you use these combinations of attacks into combos of other things based off the character. Like, the moves are performed the same, so it's not like Street Fighter where you're pressing like down, directionally down, forward, and a button to throw a fireball. Instead, you're just pressing a side button, and if your character has a fireball, they'll throw a fireball. So like that's kind of like the format that's sort of taken over for platform fighters. I haven't really seen anything that's like traditional fighting game on platforms at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really exist because it's kind of really difficult because in 2D fighters, like really all that exists is just player one and player two, and then like a flat stage. And I mean, the backgrounds will change, but they're the same size every time. So that's just personal preference. I mean, the only exception being like Tekken, where stages matter considerably and affect certain matchups in different ways.
Right.
Put platforms on Tekken.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily platforms, but they do
Put them in anyway.
And
Put them in anyway. I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you can break through stages in that game. That's like not
Yeah,
quite a platform, but
not quite a platform, but like it's basically the
Almost.
same premise where like in Smash, platforms in certain layouts will affect certain matchups. Like CSS will be really good on Battlefield because she can, or Dreamland for that matter, because she can ladder much more easily than on stage like FD where she can't like gain height. And then in Tekken, you have characters that just do bum damage, but it's a little bit more limited on like an endless stage. But if you get a if you get a if you get a falling stage, you're taking 70 every time you get touched. Like taking
That is
70%
super
every
gross.
time you get like geese have. Oh no, I don't know enough about Tekken to get super into it, but that's the general premise, and it's the same kind of idea, just not executed in the same way.
In Tekken, don't they also have like ring outs or like?
No, that is only Soul Calibur.
Oh, okay. I'm getting.
Yeah.
I think that was a Virtua Fighter too. That's like that's a whole
Yeah.
nother. That's
And
almost like a
in,
platform fighter, actually.
And in
Almost.
the Budokai games, when you play on the world tournament stage,
Yes.
you
I
can technically
remember
ring
that.
out.
Oh yeah, like the show. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So
I am the champion.
So for anyone who's actually watching this and not just listening, I have Tekken gameplay on the screen now, and as you'll see, this is a traditional fighter. It's basically 2D playing field. I mean, these guys are moving on a 3D axis, but you'll see essentially one person facing right, one person facing left for the most part, and then moves happen. And platform fighter is a little bit different than that because you're swapping positions on the stage constantly, and sometimes you're above your opponent, sometimes you're below them, and that's what we're talking about before, where sometimes you have advantage. But outside of like the nitty gritty details, as I mentioned to start this whole thing, Smash Brothers was essentially the first of its kind to do this, and it was sort of a gameplay style that took over. It took over slowly. Smash 64 was obviously popular back in the day on N64, and then as we're all familiar with, Super Smash Bros. Melee came out, which then had a massive following behind it that we're all very familiar with, and that has essentially sculpted the Smash environment that we see today. And I guess what I'm really curious about is, since we do know a bunch about Smash Bros. In general and its community, what do you think makes this game most popular? I kind of have my answers, but Koopa, what do you think? I mean, Smash Brothers is near and dear to a lot of people at this point. What do you think makes it unique, and aside from defining the whole genre?
I think the answer is pretty simple. It's because it's taking people's, like, you're taking iconic IP video game characters and making them fight each other. Like, the thing that's like every schoolyard argument I'd have, it's like, oh, who would win in a fight, like Mario or Ridley? And now 20 years later, like, you can actually bring that to fruition. So like, I feel like because Nintendo has such like a wide array of IPs, and they talked about this when they revealed Ultimate, how like this is like the biggest crossover of gaming franchises in like history. So I feel like the IPs is what really carries Smash Brothers, but also the amount of like the later you got into the series, it's just like the amount of love and the little in references they put to other games, in the fighters themselves, and that's what I think makes them really popular. The fact that Smash has a very unique identity once we start getting into the other platform fighters is, I think, what kind of puts it apart, but also because it's Nintendo. So
Absolutely. You hit everything I would have hoped to have said, especially with like iconic game characters and gaming sort of being kind of like a buzzword at this point, people just getting into it. A lot of characters in the game are very familiar, things that even people of an older age will remember from the original NES. You'll see Mario, you'll see Donkey Kong, you'll see Mega Man. And then if you're from the newer generation, you'll see all of like the recent game characters, like even like a Corrin from Fire Emblem, or like it covers all generations worth. So even if you know nothing about games and you just want to like hang out and play games with someone, there's a pretty safe bet that there's going to be a character in there that you at least recognize, which makes it a lot easier. In addition to simplified movesets, which we talked about a little bit earlier with Musty, but
one thing that I've realized across my years of playing Smash, both like competitively and at like college parties, is that not everyone's gonna recognize the characters that are in there, but everybody knows what Super Smash Brothers is. So like I feel like the it kind of just like set itself apart, which I feel like cheating when I say that Smash is one of my favorite games because it's just like an amalgamation of everything. It's like it's like if someone says that Sonic Generations is their favorite Sonic game, they're cheating. Like because it has everything.
Think of like favorite games. I never include Smash because like obviously there's the game itself, and there's also like you said the crossover aspect, but there's also like the community that like it would be so unfair to every other game to like expect them to provide that to me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And actually, since you
Yep.
bring up the topic, Eric Gordon, I'm going to let you take this one over. We have seen imitations that aren't just indie games, which we'll get into the indie games in a bit because those are the most prominent in terms of volume for like Super Smash Brothers inspired games. But we've seen this approach in PlayStation where they tried to make a game called PlayStation All-Stars. And it just did not have the same luster as Smash Brothers for a lot of the reasons we just suggested. But I mean, Eric Gordon, you were just telling me earlier, even a guy like DeBuzz, who is well known in Smash, what was he, like the #1 player in PlayStation
like,
All-Stars?
I think he's like the best PlayStation All-Stars player when it had like a scene, I guess.
Incredible, man. And obviously his reign is supreme in Smash. He dominates the New York area for the most part, or one of 3 people who mostly dominate that area. But
Chris, while you're on this subject, I'm actually gonna find a really funny VOD for you now that we're talking about this. So keep going.
perfect, send it over. But yeah, so I guess now that we kind of have that laid out, and for anyone curious, PlayStation All-Stars, I do have it on the screen right now via Twitch, and you could even see it. It plays pretty similar to what you'd see in Smash Brothers. You'll see the characters on there. You'll see Raiden from Metal Gear Solid, or like basically the Android version of him, and then you'll see the God of War guy,
Yeah, Kratos.
Kratos. Thank you. And like it's just like it looks the same, moves the same, but ultimately just not quite the same charm. And I think that's mostly because Nintendo did a really good job of preserving their IPs, and PlayStation they kind of didn't. They had some really iconic characters back for PlayStation 1 that just they never really stuck with, like your Spyros and your Crashes and your Banjos, and they just never really stuck with it. And then so like you have a game full of just kind of like what is kind of third-party characters on the PlayStation, and it just didn't translate.
Yeah, didn't you want to play as the fucking sock puppet from Little Big Planet and
I didn't.
Fat Princess?
I didn't.
All these weird fucking characters.
I can definitely say when I was a kid I had Sly Cooper 2 and 3, and like I really love those games. So like part of me, like when I finally got a PS3, I wanted that game or PlayStation All Stars so I could play as Sly Cooper. But his moveset was kind of weird, so I'm like, oh well.
Yeah. So
Yeah, like.
oh,
Well,
I
I
was
was gonna say like just really quick, just like PlayStation All Stars had the potential to be really good, and I feel like every company that if they ever decide to like go to Smash Brothers route with their games and their franchises, that they totally can do that. The big problem is that like if Nintendo went the route that PlayStation All Stars did, it'd be like if Smash only had like Mario Kart DS characters, except all of them are Rob.
oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
God.
PlayStation All Stars could have been great, but the fact that they wouldn't give them access to like some of their like most iconic characters, like who the fuck wants to play as this? I'm sorry, it's just I'm so upset just looking. Like what is it doing? What is that?
Well, there's a pile driver in there, and then this guy's setting him. He's electrifying him. It's just right. So this actually is a great way to move into the indie games because there has been a surge of those games. There's a lot of Smash-inspired indie games. Anywhere from I would say most popular is Rivals of Aether. Then there's Icons, there's Slap City, there's Brawlhalla, there's Brawlout. Then there's the fan-made games, which are Super Flash Bros. And there's just a lot of them. And I guess what my question, and I'm gonna kick this back to Musty, is is there room for more successful platform fighters? Keeping in mind all of the iconic gaming characters that make Smash Bros. Popular, like where do these games fit? Is there room for all these inspired games? Will any survive?
That's actually hard to call because the media, it is a bit oversaturated right now. I'd say there are a bunch coming out right now. I know there are a couple ones that are like purely just for casual play, like that one, like that one samurai one. I don't remember what it's called.
Oh man, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called
Yeah,
either. I've
yeah.
seen it. I'm gonna look for it, see if I find it.
Like like there are a couple that are meant purely for casual play, but I mean, if you're picking up a platform fighter that isn't Smash Brothers, you're picking it up for the gameplay. And the likelihood, if you're trying to pick it up competitively, you came from an offshoot of Smash. Like I know a bunch of Rivals of Aether players that played PM, or they played Melee. Like I know I think like one of the better examples is hold on, I'm trying to remember his name. Give me 1 second.
Is Samurai Gun the game you were talking about? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was
I
called.
found it. This
Also-
looks pretty neat, actually.
Are you talking about Switch, Musty?
No, I'm just talking about no, I'm not talking about Switch right now. Actually, I'm talking about a player called Theo Mock. He's
Yeah, that guy.
yeah, he hails from Florida, and he's been playing this game probably since before ABSA came out. But he came from Melee, and he didn't really like where the game was going, so he just decided that he was going to play this new game that came out, and he actually ended up creating the biggest crew that Rivals has ever seen. So, I mean, hey.
Oh wow,
He's
interesting.
also like top 15 in the game, so I mean he's pretty
wow,
good.
good for him.
Yeah, he's kind of nice.
This is Rivals, you're saying?
Yeah, this is Rivals I'm talking about.
Right. So then we've actually, and I don't want to jump the gun here, but like something like Rivals is something where it does have a bit of a life in terms of community, and the community there does echo Smash Bros. It's hard to think that it'll ever really exceed it, just because Smash is kind of at the peak of its
Popularity.
peak of its popularity and sort of the peak of like what type of game it is, as Nintendo did invent the entire genre. But Rivals does seem to have its own crowd, and I think you already mentioned it in what you were just saying, was that there's kind of elements of Smash Bros that were in Melee and things in PM that didn't appear in Smash 4 or might not appear in Ultimate, and you'll have a fan base that just by virtue will gravitate towards a game that basically pays homage to those things. Like, for example, Rivals in their training mode, basically teaches you how to wave dash, like, and teaches you how to do these things that were otherwise broken features of Melee, but people used to play the game on a very high level.
Yeah, one thing Rivals is really good at is the tutorial. Like for the basic controls and like the character specific stuff, it's like it like teaches you very well how to do it. And also like wave dashing in Rivals is like a lot easier than Melee.
Much
They
easier.
made the timing more lenient because you don't have to wait until you're in the air. You can wave dash like out of your jump squat animation, and it like doesn't have to be perfect if you want to get like the max wave dash angle. You just have to hold left or right.
Right.
Yeah,
So that sounds like a gameplay thing. So like people gravitate for the gameplay, and it's understandable. Rivals, and even aesthetically looks really nice. It has its own little lore to it. They did add some indie characters to it. Like there's Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest. There's Shovel Knight most recently, and that's stuff that does add quite a bit to your game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember they actually showed the Shovel Knight trailer while we were at SmashCon, because I was just kind of like walking around and just like, oh yeah, we got a character trailer for you, and then they showed the fucking Drupal King, and I damn near lost my shit. I was like, oh
yeah,
fuck,
I remember that.
dude. Yeah, you
I
were
think
standing.
like,
Yeah,
like
yeah, we were watching it
7
together. Yeah,
Dang,
I was
Shovel Knight's
popping
really
off,
in
dude.
every game.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
really in everything. It's
Yeah.
like hot sauce. I put that shit on everything.
Yeah, man, and he was an assist trophy in Smash. I announced as one, and then I think what was it, like a week or two later they announced him for Rivals.
Yep, and that
Yep.
was actually like a breath of fresh air for the game because everyone that wanted Shovel Knight in Smash was just like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was me. Yep, I can confirm.
Yeah.
So it's like you think about that being the possibility with like indie games, but what I wanted to allude to is it doesn't quite work out for all the indie games that go Smash inspired, whether that be for gameplay purposes or even on a superficial level. Sometimes the aesthetic of some of these just don't look that nice, and I know Icons is one of those games that it looks like it's going through some reshaping at the moment. It was kind of popular, had somewhat of a community, but it looks like the developers may be having a tough time sort of keeping up with it. And I'll link that tweet in a bit, but what do you guys have on that?
Well, yeah, basically the reason I wanted to like do this episode is because I saw that news, and I feel like it'd be like really topical because I feel like the big problem a lot of these Smash clones, for the most part, like I don't feel like I'm pissing anybody off when I say that because like a lot of these popular like platform fighters, the terminology kind of carries over. That's how I was able to bullshit my way through like 4 rounds of Rivals of Aether commentary because Lord knows I didn't know what the fuck I was talking
You did a
about.
good job, man. Like
Hey,
I'll
man,
give it to you.
Look, man, you can put lipstick on a pig; it's still a pig. So,
Hey.
yeah. But yeah, it's like I think the big problem a lot of these games have is longevity. Because I remember last year the big thing was Brawl Out, and Brawl was like, oh, this game's gonna be mad fun, and that game like showed up dead in the box.
Bro,
Which
oh
is-
yeah, I
Yeah.
can. I played. I bought Brawl Out. I played it for a good
You
like.
poor fucking sucker.
I feel bad, man. I played it for like a good 4 hours. I gave it a shot, and I was like, this game just is not fun. Like I don't want to play it. Like each match felt like it was like an hour.
Didn't they? Yeah, they had the guy from Guacamelee in that.
That
right?
was what made me want to play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had Juan, and I was pretty happy about that. But
I
like,
love that game.
It
by the way.
wasn't.
Shout
It
out to
wasn't enough.
Guacamelee. Yeah, but I think the big problem a lot of these games has for me personally is identity and like you were talking obviously aesthetics. Like if the game looks like shit, I'm probably not gonna play it. And I think me and AJ played Icons. We played Icons for like 15 minutes or something like that at SmashCon.
Yeah, when we were at SmashCon, we were at the
Yeah.
booth.
Like we played it for a little bit, and I have friends that are on the dev team, and I feel for them because like it sucks when you have to like lose your job like that or something like that. Like that's really unfortunate. But I'm just gonna be real. The game aesthetically was just not for me.
It's not
Like,
nice looking. It's really
yeah,
not.
I didn't-
Icons
No.
was-
It's like for me, it's mostly the animations. Like I feel they look really stiff, and like
There's
I feel like it's hard to like tell what the characters are doing, and I feel like that's important. Like if you're fighting like Ganon, you know his up air is like a kick, so you know in general where the hitbox is. But like it can be really hard to tell that in, like in Icons, at least in my opinion.
it just like the aesthetics overall. It has a little bit more of like the characters look more like human-y. Which isn't the worst thing, because I mean, even in Smash, you'll have like your characters, like any Fire Emblem character, a Cloud, but like it's just different because they're all like this in this game, and it just like AJ, you just or Air Gordon, you just mentioned it. It just like it almost is hard to tell what they're doing. As I'm watching this clip right now, like I saw a down air and it looked like it was just like a regular animation falling downwards, but it hit him. So it's like,
Yeah.
I know you're limited when you're an indie developer and stuff, and I understand that maybe it's not the easiest to do these things, but like, it'll definitely affect what you're ultimately able to achieve in the endeavor, like just on a very straightforward level.
Yeah, I feel like the way I look at it is at least for me being able to, because I downloaded Icons like when it came out, because I wanted to try it, and I've been playing at that point. I've been playing Rivals since like, I want to say the end of my freshman year when I got into it, which would have been 2016, 2017. I don't know, but anyway, in
That's
Icons
hard.
to me it felt a lot like Melee. Like when I go back to Melee, because I used to play Melee, but I don't anymore. When I go back to Melee, Melee always feels stiff to me because I haven't practiced and it's very technical. And I went into Icons, I felt like that same sort of like technical barrier, or like, oh, I have to like practice this a lot. But Rivals, I feel like it's more like beginner friendly, as I mentioned earlier. Like the tech's easier to do.
Yeah,
It's not a bad thing in my opinion.
the tutorials in Rivals are actually very good. They do walk you through things, and they'll test you on them, and they don't let you basically not complete them, no matter how hard it is. So it is pretty good, if not a little punishing. But hey, man, I mean that's how you get good at these games. But let's see, where did I want to take this one? Right, so. Some of these games, well, actually, before we leave the topic of Icons, because it was the motivation for this episode, I understand that they had somewhat of like it was free to play, but you had the basically like loot box format from Overwatch. You had to like basically buy loot boxes and hope that you got the content you wanted. Which
Basic.
Yeah, I think you could just buy the characters outright, but like different skins and taunts.
Yeah, skins and stuff are all loot boxes. All loot
Which
boxes.
is tricky. It's really tricky because that means you could theoretically buy a loot box and get nothing new out of it, but you spent the money. So that's just a tough system to employ if you're a developer. Like, and honestly, like it does. It's sort of like, I know for me, if I just want a particular skin for a character and I couldn't get it, like it would be enough for me to be like, I just don't want to play this game. And which sounds petty, but like, I don't know, man. It seems like something simple, and it is tough because then you'll see like a game like Rivals, and not to really just directly compare the two. But like they have skins for everything, and they have the events that you could do to get you skins. Like if you do like an online tournament, you'll get like a skin for it, which I think is awesome. Because like that's community building, and that's actually what I want to move on to next.
I was gonna say,
Like,
well, you go first, AJ.
yeah, Dan Fornace and like the whole development team are really good with like community outreach. Like you said, if you enter an online tournament, they give out codes to the TOs, and they give out, and obviously TOs give the code to the winner. And like every big tournament, like the commentators, you'll see Dan commentate like his own game. You'll see Edelus, like Edelus and EE were commentating Rivals, like top 8 I think for the last Frostbite.
Dude, that is
like,
so
they're
cool.
very involved, and they're very and like they have a blog where they post updates and stuff, and they're always listening to the community.
That is so cool, man.
I was gonna say 2 things. Number 1, Chris, you forget that this is the pettiest podcast on the internet, so
That's
it's
fair.
okay. It's
Totally
okay to
fair.
be petty. Yeah, it's okay to be petty sometimes. And 2, like, it's like you were just saying, like, there's a whole lot of community love within Rivals that I really. Excuse the baby. The baby really likes Rivals too. Actually.
I could hear it. He's cheering.
Yo, he plays for
loves it.
Aether.
No, he
I
definitely
totally bet money on that too.
he definitely plays Edelus because he likes to eat glue. So that's the meme, right? I think that's what that is.
Yeah, that was actually a meme way before like Smash picked it up.
Oh wow, I think you might know more about Rivals than me, Koopa. That's crazy.
I'm an expert. What can I say? Hire me. But yeah, like I think that just like the community backing for Rivals and the fact that the game's pretty to look at and they're like kind of writing their own lore within the games and the characters they release, I think that's what kind of carries it, and obviously the fact that it's fun to watch. So yeah.
Yep. That game is so fun to watch.
It is fun to watch, and that isn't even something I always can say about Smash at times. Like this game, I was watching it because we had our first tournament last weekend, and I guess we could just jump to that now. MHG finally had a Rivals of Aether tournament, which is really the first competitive game because I don't count Mario Party as a competitive game. It's just not. So it's literally the first competitive game outside of Smash that has ever been streamed, and I gotta say, I don't really know a ton about Rivals. Oh, I know an okay amount, but like for me, coming from a spectator standpoint, like I enjoyed it. Like things were moving fast. You could tell what the players were doing were pretty complex. You could just see kind of cool movements and chains and combos, and like it was fun to watch. And the matches move at a very, very good pace.
Yeah, like an average match in Rivals will be about 3 to 5 minutes, and like early matches will never last more than like 2 to 3, and tournaments go by really, really fast. They're run so quickly.
Well, I could tell because, yeah, the VODs were like a good, 5 to 10 at the very most, whereas like Smash VODs, the average is usually like 10, sometimes 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no.
Shout outs to Bayo.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, and this time around, I would like to say I was privileged to see some pretty high-end gameplay because, and since we are going to talk about community building and how this might echo Smash and what we've seen in Smash could kind of show us what we could expect for something like Rivals, but what I saw were 3 top 10 players that came to just like a local for Rivals that wasn't even a Rivals local. It was a side event for a Smash tournament, but they were kind of
what the fuck,
dude. They were stoked. They were
stoked
stoked on the idea just to basically have a local place to play, which was the main feedback I saw after. Was a lot of these guys were like, man, playing at a local after playing online for all this time, like I wish I could always play local. And that sentiment was definitely proved because I think even Dan Fornace sent, I believe it was Penguin, all the way from Massachusetts, I believe, or Connecticut, one of the two, somewhere pretty far up north. He paid for his trip just to come down to Platinum Star 10, which is on your screen now.
Yeah,
That's
Penguin
amazing.
does not live around here.
Which is so amazing to me that not only would he be willing and happy to make that trip, but like the developer of the game literally sent him. Like that's community outreach to me. You know what I mean? That's not loot boxes. That's not like whatever. That's like this game started online tournaments with their skins and kind of developed a community like that. And then now I'm starting to see on my end just the tie-in from the online community to an actual physical community, which we've seen already at things like Frostbite and stuff like that. But I got to see it on a local level, and I thought that was really cool.
And I reiterate, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Cake Assault lives in New Jersey, so that one's a little bit more realistic. MSB's from New York, but yeah, I did not expect Penguin to come out. But like, they actually like synchronize like their entry tweets on Twitter, Cake Assault and Penguin.
So good, man.
To get everybody to come out, and we ended up with like 25 entrants at a Rivals local, which is insane. Like AON gets like like 10 to 12.
And I think that the theme is, and I wanted to just try this this week, just because Smash 4 on its own is just sort of, I don't want to say it's dead, but it will be soon, and you could sort of get that feel from a lot of the people, even the regulars that you see at the tournaments. So I've taken the past few months as an opportunity to just try new things, this being one of those new things. And I felt a little reinvigorated from it because it reminded me what it's like to have a really passionate community behind you. Because that's essentially where Smash 4 started, at least for me in New Jersey. That's kind of how it built to any kind of level I was able to get it at, even the small level that it's at. But like this really spoke volumes to me. It makes me wonder about the possibilities for Rivals, because I know for Smash now, we've talked about this on past podcasts, you could have events and locals, and they're sort of just expected to be top notch and have like really good stream, really good infrastructure. But at the end of the day, it's kind of just a few people running it, but it still gets so competitive where all these things are expected. But Rivals is a little different because you'll see them appear on a bigger stage, like a bigger Smash 4 major or regional, and you'll see like a couple hundred entrants, but really nothing locally. But I think that the potential is there, especially with time. I don't know what it'll look like or how it'll look like, but I don't know. What do you like, Musty? What do you think a scene might look like on this on a local level? Do you see it more in terms of like regional based, like only being able to get attendance regional wise, or do you think it could be kind of smaller, like statewide, or as much as Smashes where you have like parts of states that have big scenes?
I'd probably say regionally, only because like Rivals doesn't have really a big enough scene to sustain a statewide thing. I mean, New York does, but they're one of the biggest scenes in this game next to like Arizona.
Sure.
So it's super difficult to make like a statewide thing. Like I'm probably like the first or second best player in Pennsylvania, and I'm pretty bad. I know a lot about the game, but I'm not very good.
Well, it's because you play Dragon Ball Fighters, not Rivals of Aether.
Yeah, I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
I'd
clearly in your
like
Twitter tag.
Like, I gotta shout out my roommate who I took a platinum star, Sonic Goon. I think he got like 13th, and he lives in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Sonic Goon's pretty good, but I slap him on Wi-Fi every time we play, so we're just gonna let that one go. All right.
Body.
Okay.
We're money matching next time I see him, but
So
money matching next time.
This tea is hot, sis.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, though, right? So you could expect to see growing personalities within this game because you've already seen online crossover into actual IRL play, which doesn't always happen for these bigger tournaments. And something I know, what other big tournaments has Rivals? I mean, I know it's appeared in a ton of tournaments, but what other tournaments that are super notable, like Frostbite, have we seen rivaled at? Because they usually do pretty well, and it's usually like in addition to a Smash event.
Well, from what I've noticed the last year is that there's only one local I know off the top of my head that like has Rivals in conjunction with Smash, and that's the Smash Field Weeklies in Michigan. Shout outs to Ori. That's my guy. I love that guy. But I know they run Rivals there locally. But like you just said, Chris, the theme of the last year has been Rivals has just kind of been the piggyback like game. I don't want to call it a side event either because Rivals has been getting like
it deserves more from what I've seen, to be entirely honest.
And it's been getting a lot of entrants at these events, like to the point where like obviously like it takes up a day on the Sundays, but like as you just put on stream now, Shine had it. I think it started this year with Genesis having Rivals, and then Frostbite had it. Smash and Splash had it. SmashCon had it also. Again, SmashCon, it made sense for SmashCon because it's kind of an amalgamation of all the platformy fighter games. But I feel like this is kind of like a good spot for Rivals, like because I don't know if there's ever been like a Rivals exclusive like major event. Because like Musty was saying, I don't know if the scene can sustain itself like that. I
mean, there haven't been none. There have been a couple. Yeah. They just haven't. They haven't like gotten like hundreds because it doesn't like draw out other communities, and it's not. And I mean, there's not enough people going to make it worth everybody that's in the Rivals community to go. I also just want to give a short mention to the fact that Genesis, like every year, is actually the end of each RCS season. And that's why that's why everyone shows up to Genesis. It's the biggest event. It's the end of the Rivals Championship Series, and you get a lot of money. So.
Yeah, that's always appealing, and
free Clarion skins.
So
yes, of course.
I have to say, especially on a local level, I think the nice thing that I like about Rivals personally is I believe it has an opportunity that Smash has until Smash got really oversaturated by everyone wanting to be involved. Where I think that there's a lot of players in certain areas localized that would support events if they happen more regularly. And I think that they could happen more regularly in regions that are spread out almost to a level where you could make like, okay, here is a monthly in New Jersey. Now here is the monthly in New York, and here is the monthly in Connecticut. Because I did notice that Rivals uses real Tri-State, which involves Connecticut instead of Pennsylvania. But also,
shit.
but also, yeah, right. Which I could, man, I want to make that its own topic. Basically, like I don't get why Smash Tri-State includes. It's not even all Pennsylvania. It's literally
Just
like
Philly.
yeah, it's just Philly, which makes zero sense. But I've been told by many people it's
I
not
can
going to
explain
change.
that, actually. I actually have the explanation for that. It's mostly because of the brawl scene. Back then, XX, 6WX, and Vex, when he was still actively playing brawl, lived there, and they would go out to everything in New Jersey and New York, and everyone would go out to everything in PA. So they just kind of figured that just might as well just include them in the region, and it's just kind of how it ended up.
Well, so with that sentiment, using real geography and things that make sense, I think what we could do is basically just you could
All right,
you could essentially use the players in the areas and make it more regional wise and give them opportunities in each state so you could drive the traffic to each place. And quite honestly, I see no reason not to involve Pennsylvania. I just want to clear that up. But I also think at that point, why not just call the whole region the Northeast and then just have each state be its own thing, especially for Smash, but we aren't talking about Smash. But like as far as like Rivals goes, that's a realistic possibility. You could you can create a tri-state circuit very comfortably in my mind, because it does appear to have enough base players that are willing to travel, and maybe enough overflow with like people in the local area who would go to events even if it's like a 30-man bracket.
Or you can go mega woke and just make quad state. Fuck it.
Dude, I'm all for the
Wait, what if
Northeast.
we
Get
just call it,
Massachusetts in there.
Nah, bro. If we say the Northeast, we gotta include Maine. I don't like that.
Good. Bring them in, man.
What if we just
I
call
want
it,
'em.
like tri-state.
It's like an
plus
elephant
city?
trunk.
Yeah, tri-state, that's actually like 2 more states also, and maybe a few others.
Maine is just New Jersey with lobsters.
We'll just call it Cold Land.
Well, I don't Well, that's what I think. I do think that there's a lot of potential for growth for Rivals of Aether. I think it'll ultimately be capped at the ceiling or underneath the ceiling that Smash has, just because Smash is sort of proving the concept of like a fighting game community that sort of is homegrown and organic. And I think that's since Rivals is an echo of Smash. I do think it could branch out as its own thing, but like in the meantime, we're seeing most of the traffic coming from people who either used to play Smash Brothers or just want something to play outside of Smash Brothers. But I think the potential's there, quite honestly.
Yeah, I feel like Rivals. The one thing it does really well is that even though like certain moves like on characters are like taken from Smash Bros. Characters, like Zetterburn's up B, it's clearly like Fox is like a Fox style up B, and like Clarin has the same type of mechanic as Marth, but like slightly different. Like every character has something super unique about them that you don't get in Smash. Like Edelus, he puts ice on the ground, and then when he's on the ice, he's more slippery. Like no one in Smash does that. Like
No,
you know,
yeah, like there's a lot of unique things going on there.
yeah, and I think it's sort of like if you look at like traditional fighters, like there's like the Shoto clone, so like every fighting game kind of has like a basic character that was like kind of inspired by Ryu. And I would think that like in platform fighters, you'd have like a Spacey where it's like kind of like Melee Fox, but like put your own spin on it. But then you have like crazy characters like Eliana has like nothing. There's like okay, he has his explosive minds kind of like Snake. But like other than that, like the moveset is like completely unique.
It's
There's nothing
complete.
like that
It's
character
completely
in
different.
Smash
She doesn't even have a
currently.
technical double jump. She just floats.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
not
like-
floats. She flies. She just goes straight up. Like
Yeah. So like I feel like Rivals is just really good at creating his own identity, which we've kind of been talking about the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Um.
what's the word I'm trying to say? Well, come back to me for a second. I need to think.
Yeah. No, I was just actually. I'm really glad you brought that up, AJ, because I was actually gonna talk about like the thing that I feel like kind of kills a lot of these like Smash clones on arrival is that their selling point is that they're gonna try to be like Melee. Like I think the thing that kind of killed me about Icons is that it's just different Melee again. It's just different Marth with different Fox that's a goat this time, whatever. Like,
Okay,
it's
that,
just
I hold on. I'm gonna let you finish, but I just remembered what I wanted to say.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the thing that I like about Rivals is that it's trying to do all that, but like you were talking about, the characters have things that make them unique to each other. Like you have the passive traits for like Sylvanos and Edalis, and all these characters have something that they do idly that differs them from the cast. And you look at games like Brawlhalla, where like I think the gimmick there is that everybody can double, like you have multiple jumps or whatever, or like nobody has a
Everybody can
like,
recover.
yeah,
Everybody can recover.
yeah, everybody can recover. So like,
There's no DI in that game either. Fun fact.
oh god,
Oh.
jeez,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
positional.
So like I feel like what if like as Rivals continues to grow, because obviously we were talking about this off chat or before we went live, is that the game is getting a port to the Switch, but they're having, to my knowledge, according to what Musty said, they're having trouble porting it over
Yeah.
because of the
Game Maker Studio.
Yeah, because of the Game Maker Studio version they use. So I feel like that'll be a big boost for the game if they can get that to work, because then it's just going to be like, oh yeah, we can have Rivals here, because it's just like just hit a couple buttons and you can play Rivals of Aether. And I feel like as more of these come out, because there's obviously going to be different like there's going to be different variations of these games coming out as the years go on, as Smash continues to be super freaking popular. I feel like they're all going to have to kind of find their niche in the sand or whatever, just to like kind of stick around for longevity's sake, because like you've seen the fruits of it with Rivals, as they've released like I think like 8 different characters or whatever. Or something crazy, or in regards to DLC and content that continues to be updated. Whereas you look at what happened to Icons, unfortunately, where they're releasing their one new character and then the game is done in development.
It's just gone.
Yeah, sucks. What were you gonna say, AJ?
So like I think this is a sentiment that I feel like a lot of people might have with certain platform fighters, at least from my friend group, is like especially with Icons. Like when I'm playing Icons, like, well, why would I play this when I could play Melee, in a sense? Like, this is coming from my friends at my school who play Melee, you know?
Makes sense.
And some of them even say that about Rivals, but I disagree, as I mentioned earlier, with like, there's so many unique characters that you can't get in Melee or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
these, like the platform fighter games, like, they need to take inspiration from Smash and like make it their own thing. I sort of like think about it like how like Street Fighter is like your base traditional fighter, and then you have like Marvel versus Capcom or Dragon Ball, where you have 3 characters, or like then you have anime games where you just combo people forever. You know what I mean? Like, they all have their unique aspect, but it was still based on like the fundamentals that Street Fighter made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's definitely has a unique feel. And again, it's fun to watch, and that's the most important part. But we are gonna start wrapping up this topic. It's funny, as I wanted to use this to transition to something about the Big House 8, but I'm realizing that Big House didn't have any rivals or anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like really surprising, because like I said, I know the Midwest has like a pretty okay rival scene, at least at a local level, and
Yeah.
obviously Frostbite has hosted events in the past. But I feel like the thing that kind of hurt this Big House is because it's gonna go for tournaments that happen in the later half of the year anyway. But they're obviously hurt by the fact that Ultimate is like right around the corner, so entrants are gonna hurt, which means a drawback in budget, and so it probably wasn't in the cards to have it there, which is a shame.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any last notes you'd like to make on platformers, or platform fighters, or anything like that before we move on? Because we are gonna actually move the Big House in just a moment, and then get into some locals.
I wanted to talk about the other ones a little bit. Like, I wanted to give like a quick mention to Slap City, because that game is
Yeah, how did I
Yeah,
forget
Slap
that?
City.
We should definitely not exit this topic until we talk about Slap City. Go ahead, Musty.
So Slap City is a bit of a weird case for me personally, but there are a lot of things that the game does right. Like, movement feels really good. They cut out dash attacks, which was a little weird when I first started playing, but basically what happens when you try to dash attack in Slap City is you just get a dash cancel forward tilt. And dash canceling is actually something that I really like in platform fighters. Another reason that I was pushed away from Icons was that I couldn't dash cancel my normals, which is just extremely odd. But off that topic, Slap City is super well sound. I will say it's in early development, so this is bound to happen. But I will say that there are some balancing issues that I don't personally prefer. But I can see why a lot of people like this game. And also, the game's art style is super silly and just hilarious to look at.
Well,
the score is just super goofy.
this game is still in beta, right? Like I know
Yeah,
Rivals became an
yeah.
official game maybe a year ago.
Yeah,
Whereas this is still very much beta phase game.
very much in early access. I like that. I haven't checked the tier list in a little bit, but I know like Fish Bungeon like just got nerfed like before I stopped playing the game, but he's kind of a little bit prominent again just because he has a down throw that he can just kill you.
Dude, I love that character. I'm gonna find a match with him.
He's so goofy.
What a great
like,
character.
I'm
so
all
much-
about.
super.
I was gonna say I'm all about business casual, man.
Oh, dude.
Business Casual Man is
Yeah.
like he's actually not even a real character from their games. He's actually just an Easter egg that exists in every one of their games.
So
And
the cool part about Slap City, I would say, is it's not out to play like Melee, because we were just talking about how a lot of the appeal is to play like Melee. Like it's not like that. If anything, this plays a little bit like Smash 4. There's like you use a ledge, there's shields, there's grabs, everything that you would basically expect. Whereas like Rivals of Aether doesn't have shields, doesn't have ledges. So yeah, like there's actually some pretty good gameplay differences in there that kind of loan itself to kind of fun, easy playing.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was at SmashCon, being Cooper in the same hotel room. With, like,
Oh
bunch of
my
other
god.
Smashes. And we played. I think someone asked if I had Slap City on my laptop.
It was definitely me. I definitely asked if you had.
Yeah, it was you. So then we played it, and we were all just dying laughing at the shenanigans in this game.
Yeah. I described Slap City as that feeling when you eat too many donuts before you go to bed.
It's
Like,
such a good description,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's like you feel sick, but it's like you had a good time in the process.
And it's funny because as goofy as it looks and as like very animated and ridiculous as it looks, like it plays pretty smoothly. Like moves are very satisfying when they combo, because like a lot of things combo into themselves. And this is another thing that makes like Smash in general, like the original platform fighter.
I can't handle this. It's just
Dude, Business
throwing
Casual
money.
Man is ridiculous. But like the thing about it is it's accessible to your average person. You could still pick up a controller, know nothing about video games or nothing about fighting games, and just smash buttons and you'll do stuff.
yeah, that's the cool part about Slap City.
Which is nice.
And almost every character in the game has the ability to kill someone at like 30%, and it is just the goofiest shit you will ever see. Like, so some of the kills I've seen in that game have just been so absurd that you just can't help but rear your head back and laugh. And I think that's what this game is focusing on, because it is so much fun to play casually. I can't get into it competitively, but watching other people do it, it almost brought me back. It didn't quite do it, but it almost did.
I could see maybe it getting better and being a thing. I'm glad you brought this up. I can't believe I almost slipped on this today. I would have been pretty sad looking back on this later. But yeah, this game is actually pretty great. I actually have some decent high hopes for this one, especially captivating that Smash 4 audience, as it does kind of go away once Ultimate comes out, or rather transitions.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of similar dynamics. And I also like that you could like charge attack in the air. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there is an air smash.
Every character has like an aerial smash attack that you can charge.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Oh, the clutch system, the auto B reverse. I like that too.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
That was a really good design decision. That very much.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that one up. Again, I would have been so upset if I forgot about this, because I actually did want to talk about Slap City a bit.
Also, shout out to SSB_Holt for that young follow.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for keeping the lights on.
Hey, let's go. He's from my college.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for paying my non-existent paychecks. Appreciate it.
Hey.
Same. Nah, man. This podcast is a lot of fun. The viewers will come a time, and if they don't, I guess I've accepted that. I don't care. It's still a good time.
Hire me.
I very much enjoyed my time here so far.
Awesome, man. You've actually been great to have, and I'll look forward to actually moving on to some local stuff. We are going to get in the Big House before we get into anything else. Mm-hmm. And the overall thing I saw from Big House was that it just felt like a big Smash tournament. It just felt like a big Smash tournament for the sake of a big Smash tournament is kind of what I saw. Like,
before you go on, Chris, I know AJ, you still good? Because I know you said you might. Hop out of some soon.
Yeah, I probably should start studying.
Okay, so let's give a little. I want to give a shout out to my dude Air Gordon here. Me and AJ have been friends for a while now, and he's like the smartest person that I ever know, that I currently know. Like he's a fucking super genius. Just kidding.
All right.
Not really,
You need to
but
stop.
yeah,
He's blushing.
but AJ. It was actually Hungry's idea, and then I kind of okayed it to have him on the podcast. So you were a great guest, and thanks again for giving us your knowledge.
Oh,
Thank you-
Koopa
thank you for
Senpai.
having me.
Yeah, you're so fucking free though. Shut up.
Don't say that about me, Senpai.
Nah, man, for real though, we don't have a ton of collective knowledge on platform fighters. We're just starting to get into them. We really enjoy them. So as you enter both Smash and other platform fighting games, your insight was actually quite helpful, for sure.
Oh, I'm glad I could help.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Go
AJ.
Yeah, go light your couch on fire.
Not until we win the NCAA again.
And then I will light it on fire.
All right, before we go, I just
Uh-huh.
gotta give a shout. Since we're going to talk about local news,
Mhm.
as I'm gone, I just want to give a shout out to Nintunis, who just upset Ralphie at Xeno. It's like hot off the presses, breaking news.
Oh yeah, that happened
Breaking
like about an
news.
hour ago. Let's go,
Oh,
David.
nice.
Yeah, I just want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, that's a great win.
Yeah.
It's a really good win.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out now and start studying. Peace out, guys.
All right, see ya,
Later.
Gordon. Thank you again,
Thanks for
man.
coming through, AJ.
All right, so tournament recap, and I am gonna mention this because I mostly because I saw tweets about it. I think it was D1 basically saying like, "Oh, we're noticing the overall feeling at the big house, and like it just makes us sad that the C Smash 4 looked this way." And I guess this is like a sentiment that we've seen not at big events and at big events for a while now, but I guess it's kind of caught up with the people who are most involved with the bigger tournaments.
Mhm.
I found it in general interesting because there was actually some cool stories in this particular tournament. Big House being one of the bigger tournaments, of course, for Smash Brothers. Even with Yeti, with such a strong performance, like that was that was actually pretty fun. That made the Big House fun. But outside of that, it seemed like kind of just like a little bit of like a flat event. I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah,
I mean, like everything that kind of happened kind of seemed to be like par for the course. Like, I mean, Void got 9th again. Nest got 13th.
I'm
and,
getting the
like-
results
like,
up right now.
Yeah, K9 got 13th, which is better than he usually does, so that's cool. Yeah, Best Nest beat Vinny. Vinny ended up getting like 25th, which is pretty low, honestly. MVD got 25th too, losing to 8-Bit Man, which is insane to me.
yikes.
So
I mean, not yikes. That's not that bad actually. But wow. So the big thing I noticed is that there's still like 260 something entrants. Like that's or
281, yeah.
There we go. Yeah. So there's still like a lot of people here, and obviously like Musty was just saying, outside of like a handful of circumstances, everything was pretty chalk for the most part. I don't think anybody saw Yeti, getting 4th place and beating Best Nest and Salem and all these players on the course to do that. But yeah, like I feel like it's like I said earlier, like it's pretty clear like the elephant in the room is that there's a new game coming out soon. Why am I gonna exhaust these resources in which I can just like put this back into everything later? But from what I saw from the event, I still really enjoyed it. There's obviously still like some storylines to talk about. What's really cool about the kind of smaller ish events that like not everybody from the top 10 or the top 20 goes to is that there's always a lot more variety. It's like Musty was also saying, like, K9 got 13th, which he kind of gets gate kept by like a lot of the other really good players. MVD dropping at 25th is a little surprising to me, because he actually, not only does he usually do like, he's been on a hot streak this tournament, but he does pretty well at the big house, all things considered. I think he got like 5th place last year or something like that. So, yeah, the event did feel a little bit flat, but like I said, I feel that's going to be par for the course for a lot of these fall nationals.
Yeah, which we've kind of mentioned in past podcasts. And the one thing I will say, the one thing I really, really enjoyed, I was just looking to see if I could find them. I couldn't. The overall production value from Unrivaled, it was just good. Like, they had really cool introductions. They had like all these sort of things that you would expect to see in other sports broadcasts. And for me, even just as like a content creator, like that's really neat to see, and that's really just like it's fun to see. It adds a little bit of personality. I wish I could show you guys examples of them. I just can't find them. But basically, they just had like introductions for anyone as they were coming into top 8, or I think they even had them for like top 16 or 32, or whatever the case may be. And it was just kind of a fun way to just sort of showcase some of the community. And the biggest thing that I saw, or that I noticed, is this was a Midwest. It was in what was this? It was in Missouri, correct? It was
What,
Midwest.
Big House?
Or, not Big House. I'm sorry. Where was it? Michigan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Michigan. I'm sorry.
Who the fuck goes to Missouri?
Not Missouri. I don't know why I said that. Big House is in Michigan, and you'll notice that a lot of the players that you saw in bracket were Michigan players, like, or all Midwest players rather. Like you saw people from the Chicago. You saw people like you just got to see all of those locals that are always going to like Unrivaled or even hit point tournaments now. It's just a developed area, so that really helps. That helps attendance in general. So that was kind of nice to see that, just like the local crowd was there, because even like Dark Shad's from that area, right? And he was top 8. Obviously Yeti from the like north
He's
Midwest
from Minnesota.
area. Yeah, so he's still in that region somewhat, like within like a distance where you could drive to it, So it's like
Yeah.
that's sort of like I guess what I took away from it.
Yeah, like the Midwest definitely showed up to defend their turf for the most part. And also I forgot to mention that Yeti also beat Dark Shad, which is like really-
That's big too.
Yeah, but I think something that I found that I thought was really cool about Big House is how they did all the player intros through the green screens, because I thought those were
Yeah.
those are
That was
fucking
awesome.
hilarious.
I love that.
That's what I was trying to mention before.
Some-
Yeah,
some of those could be just completely ridiculous, and then other ones were like trying to take it too seriously. Like I know like Cosmos is doing his freaking glasses push. Like
yeah.
No,
they're-
Tweet getting carried by the Bayonettas was fucking hilarious. That was so funny.
I didn't even see that one. Oh no.
Yeah, it's like
I
it
gotta
was his
find
top 8
these.
intro. It was his top 8 intro. I think Toasty made a tweet that like had all.
It
the
was
top 8
Toasty.
intros
That's
in
who
it.
it was. I'll find it.
Yeah, and Tweak is just standing there, and then Mistake and Zach pick him up and carry him off screen. And I just thought that was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, those were great. I really enjoyed those quite a bit. Those are really good like additions to the overall stream.
Mhm.
Yeah, the one thing the Midwest always provides is a great production like showcase. Like UR is always trying to like push limits on like what they can do in regards to like creating content and making your experience better outside of just the instant upload VODs. Which I have some gripes with the instant upload VODs, because like a lot of the fucking thumbnails were wrong, and I was like really fucking upset.
Yeah, it's the pressure of making on spot, on the spot uploads. It's just mistakes happen.
That's
Yeah.
you guys should see Jimmy's freaking. Oh my god. No,
I've kind of seen it in action, man. I
like
understand.
my man really is out here just straight up just putting hentai up there, and I'm just like, bruh, come on.
Dude,
I was like,
too
stop with the
funny.
loops. I'm really not about it, but like, I just want to give a shout out to like 2 players that I've seen in these like top 32s for a while now, but never really getting any attention. I just want to give a quick shout out to Komoda first, the guy who beat Ally 2 years ago. Whenever there's a Midwest tournament, he always makes top 32 solo Kirby, and I'm always like super impressed by that. Like he got 25th and he lost to Yeti, which isn't bad when you're playing Kirby, a character that can't deal with zoning.
Yeah, I actually it was at the Frostbite where he beat Ally, and I actually carpooled to a Michigan local with him, and then he beat Ally, so it's basically all my fault.
And the second shout out I want to make out is to Maloney, a player that I've seen in like top 32s left and right, but I've never seen a match of his get streamed. And I feel like nobody talks about the fact that he's consistently got like top 32 in all these events for like a year.
Didn't he also get bodied by Lilat?
I don't know how long ago that was. That
Definitely happened this tournament. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that was this tournament? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see his match.
Yeah,
I never see him get streamed though, for the most part.
Yeah, another person I'd like to give a shout out to before we as you guys can see on stream right now, these intros are fucking hilarious. I think it's fantastic. Dude, I can't handle this right now.
Why is Coney and EE so ridiculous?
Dude,
Because they're wrestling buffs. That's why it's hilarious.
That's what makes it work, man. Like that's all part of it.
Yeah, but one person.
Front back toe thrust. Like,
Yeah.
what am I looking at?
I can't. I love Coney, man. That's my guy. But
Yep.
another person I'd want to give a shout out to is actually New Jersey's local other commentator, Max Ketchum, on path to a top, not just a top. He got 25th in singles, and he also beat Midnight to get in the top 32.
I did not know that. That's really
Yeah,
good.
Nice.
Yeah, he beat Midnight on stream actually, and obviously if you don't know who Midnight is, he's like the second best player in Pittsburgh. And Max made a really like good tweet because I think he went from being like deconfirmed to Big House to somehow being able to make it all within like 36 hours of themselves. And because I know Max even said he's just like he was really upset that he didn't get picked to commentate at Big House, which actually shocked me because Max.
Yeah, that
is, like,
shocked me too. Wow.
yeah. Like from what I understand, just lifting up the curtain a little bit, there was obviously some budget issues, so like
Sure.
they had to cut corners in some places. But Max is like a great commentator, and it really it obviously I can understand how hurt he must have been not to be like selected, and he said that's why he wanted to like do really well. So
Well, he did.
yeah,
Mission
not bad,
accomplished.
not bad for being just a commentator, I
Yeah,
guess.
man.
Yeah, I'm saying. We couldn't do that, right, Koopa?
Absolutely not. Max actually is like outside of the commentators that play, Max is low key if he entered more and like wasn't so
He'd be the
busy
best
doing
out of all of them.
yeah, I think he's because he's like he's taken a set off of Supergirl Kells before. Like Max is really really good at this game. I think people
He
kind of
is.
forget that sometimes.
Well, he's been playing for a while now, I guess, and he has friends that are also very good at this game.
That's true.
Girls are clean.
But
'cause he's Cena.
that's true. But yeah, moving on, I guess, from the Big House in a not so subtle way. I'm gonna jump just because it was a full week ago, but moving to New York, it looks like Dill got another Xeno win after I don't think he's won one in a while. It looks like he took out.
Not in a while.
It's been a while, right? And
fuck you, Nort.
and and he did take out Venya, which is pretty good because Venya's kind of been hot recently.
Oh yeah, he's been kind of nuts.
Past couple months, yeah, he's been nutty, like just good. But and it looks like he beat the usual Xeno crowd. I see Utopian Ray at third, Ralphie at fourth, Vivi and Milk at fifth, and that's good for Milk because I'm pretty sure I think he won the Arcadian, the Xeno Arcadian.
Yeah.
He got second. He got second to Noku.
Okay, so he got second. Yeah, and then Jen, and I think Ocean Mort is SPT, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my shout out to Morty, man.
Dude,
Like,
SPT is the man. I remember he came to like a one more game a really long time ago.
Do you know what SPT stands for?
Is it small perky titties?
Nuke the VOD. We're done here.
Damn. You set me up, man. No, but in either case, so that's New York, and not a whole lot going on there. And I'm just gonna make mention of this. I don't know what ever happened to the Aeon brackets. I just they like don't exist anymore. I don't know where they went. But
I think they do challenge at
well,
AON.
so that's the thing is like I was tracking the results on Challenge pretty regularly, and like I was just like linking obviously the Challenge link, and they were there, and I would just put like places 1 through 3. But now all those links are dead, and the other Challenge that I find look like really small brackets when they were like 60-man brackets. So I'm just like, oh,
that's weird.
yeah. So in either case, I can't tell you what else is going on in New York because I don't know. So we will move to your home turf, Musty, which is the Philadelphia area, which looked like, hold on, I think something cool happened this week, didn't it? Or not super cool, but like okay.
What was it? Hold on. Let me pull up the John.
Yeah.
It was,
spoiler
what was
alert.
it,
Juice
157?
won. Yeah, 156.
Okay.
I also want to give a subtle shout out to the first bit of Philly jargon we've gotten out of Musty all tournament or all podcasts.
Yeah,
With-
pull up this John.
Yeah, pull up this
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. No.
Perfect.
John is my favorite term,
It's your
And-
favorite John.
and like I like it
That's
so
very
much that
yeah.
I like it so much that I fear that Philadelphia, that I feel that Florida will try to take it from me.
Dude,
They
that's
really try to take your. Okay, so I just want to talk about this event a little bit because this was the most lit bears that I've ever, like top 5 most lit bears that I've ever.
this is
been
a
to.
good one. I watched it. It was fun.
All these like really old players that haven't been back in a while just showed up. Like and like Giraffe showed up, aka Josh, aka he's Josh in this bracket. And then
Oh shit! Wow.
Brooke, aka SSB Matt, showed up to this bracket and it just decided to beat everybody.
Dude, yeah, okay, was there. Got ninth. Haven't seen him in a minute.
Evan actually did really well.
Dom entered. That's unusual. Don't usually see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
That's
Zach lost to Ryga. Ryga actually got fourth and popped off when he supposedly beat Matt in a 2 out of 3, but then realized it was a 3 out of 5.
Why does this keep happening?
Oh
yeah,
no!
it's always
he
Ryga. It's always Ryga. It's always Ryga.
He went full Malarson.
He went full Malarson.
That is a full Malarson. Oh man, poor guy.
Okay. David got 9th, losing to Travis. Junior got 9th, losing to Zach, and then Zach immediately lost. Josh didn't do that well, but he doesn't practice this game, and he plays whatever character he wants, so that's kind of fair. And I just want to point out that we did side bets on Joker versus Twana Knight, and it got kind of insane.
Yeah, you guys have this newfound love of side betting on things that like don't fucking matter.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
No, it just time we did it, and I think during one of the losers matches, I think it was Zach versus Ryga. Ryga proceeded to win. Evan lost a bunch of money. I don't know how much he lost, but he was like, "What the f happened? What the fuck just happened, bro?"
Dude, he's got seed, man. He can't be losing money like this.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying. All right, so we have Matt got 9th or 3rd and almost beat Dark Matter. It was actually way too close, and he got like 10 air dodge reads, but Dark Matter always faded back, so the knee would always be soft or just straight up miss. And it was so sad.
Yeah, dude, and Dark Matter, I think, what, he got second last week too?
Yeah, Dark Matter is kind of doing really good on locals right now, but Juice is way too good against Ness to ever lose.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah, I believe that.
No offense to Dark Matter, but like, I'm sorry, bro. He actually dares the Great Gonzalez every time they play, and it's hilarious. It
actually is really funny.
It's legitimately his goal. Like I'm laughing every time I look. I'm just like, oh, it's game 3. Well, when's it happening? Oh, there it is. Good games. And then I remember it was game 5 at one of the spectrums that we all went to, and Gons was on the verge of reverse 3-0ing him, and then Spiro came around the corner where Nana was playing friendlies, and he was like, "Yo, Nana, your son needs your help," and he was like, "It's time." And then all Billy came in and started smack talking, and then every time Gons would do something stupid, he's like, "Why are you rolling, bro?" And then after proceeded to lose that game, he claimed coaching, and then oh god, it was so fun. That was one of my best tournament experiences.
That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog. But that's really funny.
Yeah, no, it was. I highly enjoyed that time, but Juice is kind of like ruled bear like he usually does.
Yeah, he usually does, and Jackal did at least defend New Jersey at Platinum Star 10, which we brought up earlier. That did have rivals, but Grand Finals did come down to Jackal and Juice to no one's surprise. And Jackal actually, Juice had a pretty epic losers run. I'll give it to him. I don't think he dropped a single game, and I think he got knocked out at winners quarters by like Insomniac possibly.
It was winners round 2.
It was winners round 2.
Round 2. Yep.
Yeah, and then he
killed the entire losers bracket.
Like actually killed them. Not a single game dropped, including losers finals, and then finally met Jackal in Grands, and Jackal won that set 3-1. But overall, just like a really impressive effort on his part. Despite not winning, like that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my big takeaway from this is that it speaks for how good Jude is, because I know Jude lost to Juice at the last Future site.
Yes,
and I know that kind of like didn't sit well with him. That just kind of speaks for his competitive nature, which we brought up in the Shine episode. Plug. Go watch your old episodes.
They hold up. They really do.
Yeah, and so it really showed that he put his work in and like kind of sat down and studied and figured out what he was supposed to do. Because like we said, Juice is on a tear at that point. At one point, he won 18 straight games. Like, that's fucking insane.
That is crazy. Yeah. And I'll add in there that like losers finals, that was against Angel Cortez. It's not like he played like a shitty player. Like he was playing against Angel and he just sort of like murked him. Like
a fun little story about that set. That was actually like Juice really wanted to get his run back from Legend of Glintendo against Angel before this game died.
Oh my god.
He was so adamant.
I forgot about that.
He was like, yeah, okay, so if I don't beat him now, I'm never gonna get another chance, so I just need to slap him. And then he proceeded to do that.
Yeah.
Angel literally got up out of his chair and was like, I know what happened, but I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, it was kind of a whooping.
It was kind of it was a big slap. Another thing I want to mention, because I'm from Philly and I kind of have to, is that Beast got 7th at this tournament, and he was literally inches away from beating Angel Cortez in the winners bracket. It was so close.
Oh yeah, that was a good set. He played really, really well. I'm gonna see if I find that real fast.
Beast just kept putting him off the stage, but he just ended up not getting the kill at the end of the third game.
I think he that was the first Smash 4 set of the day actually. I think he even had not many people comment on YouTube VODs, but I think someone even commented on this YouTube VOD saying, "Hey, that Fox kind of nice."
Yeah, the Fox kind of nice.
I think my favorite thing that Beast did is when he had to play Kugi in the Fox Ditto, and then he gets off the set. He's like, the Ditto is so gay. I won 2-0. Like, he sounded like a loss, and I was just like, dude, that was really fucking funny. But Beast is nice, man. I know. Was it this past season that he was unranked, or like?
I think it was like, the past season. Yeah. He had some difficulty.
He was ranked before that, though. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah, he's been ranked like in the lower. He's been ranked in like the 8 to 10 range the last like
because
4 Philly PRs.
We've been calling him the 9th place king as of late, and the last Bears and this tournament kind of broke that mold a little bit, and I'm kind of happy that it did, because he really was getting 9th at every tournament. I think he actually got like 9th place out of 7 people at one of the dungeons somehow. He somehow managed to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, don't ask me how that's even physically possible, but it happened.
But yeah, man, pretty solid performances overall. I will give Insomniac a shout out for his win over G's. That's pretty good. I know he's been working really hard on that Bayonetta, and it's showing. Red Burpo also getting 5th. Red Burpo, he places really well, even at your guys' events at Bears. He's very formidable, and I know this past weekend he did go Captain Falcon a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But and Sync taking a very comfortable 4th place, which is pretty good considering the crowd that was there was not a bad one.
He's also a plays DBFZ type, so I'm glad he's still doing well.
But
shout out to Chris, man. He did really well.
But yeah, overall a pretty good tournament. I don't think any of us were really expecting much out of this one, which I did Rivals, but it ended up being a pretty good day. But speaking of breaking curses, yesterday at Spectrum, Delta breaking his 5th place curse and getting 2nd, taking out Law, losing the Gons and Grands, but still overall a great performance. Just want to give him a shout out because he is someone that you will constantly see in 5th place, literally every bracket. But finally breaks through that. And yeah, pretty good at that. And this Spectrum had a pretty good turnout, 28 entrants. So it's really good to see. And I do want to add, on top of that, that's basically double the entrants that MSM had and Hat had this week. So
that's insane. MSM only had 14 people.
Yeah, so did Hat.
Wow.
So
that's insane.
I don't want to like say anything here too much, but maybe perspective is everything, is all I'm saying.
Nuke the VOD. Well, if I actually want to provide.
All right, moving on.
I do want to provide some insight on that. Actually, I think since I want to say since the end of the summer that I think SoCal has just been in one big off season for like an extended period of time before Ultimate comes out. Like where a lot of regions are like obviously like staying true and like continuing to keep their power rankings like up to date. I don't think I think they did their Q2 PR or whatever, or their Q3 PR, and then everything's just been gravy for the last like 2 or 3 months. So I feel like that's why the entrants aren't like that, are a little weak on the side of the California state of things.
Well, it's understandable, man. Like I'm not even meaning to throw shade necessarily, but I do find it kind of interesting though.
Yeah, it's incredibly interesting because that's like one of the biggest weeklies in the country.
Yeah, for in a few ways, but like at the end of the games, like basically at the end of Smash 4 here, I feel like some things are starting to come out. I don't know if anyone's really paying attention to them, but like I could tell you that I am for sure. And I do think that this speaks volumes for just like how you grow your scene in general and how that works and how that happens and what's ultimately the floor level of that, which for MSM, it's proven to be like 14 people, which kind of is a little comforting because we've seen those kinds of turnouts in New Jersey quite often. So
Yeah. A
It's
lot of locals
that's
disappear.
most locals, like to put it in perspective.
Mm.
But
School was rough.
school
Yes.
is rough. In fact,
Spectrum
that is
Spectrum
true.
in general has just been getting so big as of late.
It's
Like to just
good.
in
I
lieu of all these weeklies and monthlies disappearing over the course of the past year, Spectrum just kind of showed up, and I can't wait to go to Spectrum and Ultimate when there's like 60 people in there.
yeah,
Actually, wait, it's gonna be hot as balls. Never mind, I take it back.
yeah, it's in a comfortable location for sure in terms of like distance from the locations that have travelers outside of New Jersey or even for people in New Jersey. Like it's just overall just like a good location.
Yeah, it's also got a nice burger joint next to it. Love those burgers.
Yeah,
Shout
man.
out to Kennedy Fried Chicken.
Super sloppy, disgusting but delicious burgers.
But hey,
Once every couple months.
so so that is gonna wrap it up for the locals this week. Nothing really all too crazy outside of everything we already mentioned. Basically streaks being broken and entry sizes that doubled out of Southern California. But we do have some questions from our tweets asking if anyone has questions, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't really look over them that well, but they looked decent. So
Okay.
I'm gonna turn over to those now.
Mhm.
All right, cool. There's a nice comfortable amount of these. So the first one coming in from our boy Matt Lamar. We all know ML. Uh, Wondering, are there any players you wish could fly out to NJ to compete and promote a tourney? What do you guys think?
Anyone I would want to fly out? I mean, hmm. ECM doesn't live in Florida anymore. Be a little unrealistic. I don't want to fly out anyone from SoCal because I don't know. I feel like people watch them all the time. So if I was to bring someone to New Jersey, it'd be someone that people know about and know a lot about, but don't see that often. So at this point, right now, it'd probably be Yeti. I'd love to fly out Yeti.
I was just going to say that. I think that would be so cool. And the thing is the tri-state area did get a little taste of people flying out with Smash Sounds with a compendium that almost failed.
Mhm.
But but we did end up seeing some, Komarai Kiri and who were the other guys that were here?
Kameme,
Kameme, Abadongo.
Shuton.
So we got to see these guys tour New York, and that ended up being a really cool, like, little cross promo there. And you could tell that those guys, they'd never been, I don't think, to the East Coast before. And they were here, and it seemed like they had a great time. It seemed like the locals at Zeno and all the New York locals had a really good time meeting them. So even if you do see those guys a lot, sometimes that is cool for guests, but we did see that in this area already. But yeah, someone in the Midwest would definitely be cool.
I also caught one of those Japanese players looking at anime titty on their phone, but I'm gonna let them keep their confidentiality on that. So
Damn, that's so surprising.
that's my guy, though. I'm not-
Insert pretends to be shocked gif. All right.
my answer is just fly out somebody I'm friends with so that I can hang out with them.
That's
all I
that's a
got.
good answer, man. But
Fly out my
good
man Pow.
answer.
Fly out my man Pow Pow. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool
That's
guy.
my friend.
yeah, he is like the representative for like his entire region.
No fucking Wisconsin.
They're this like, oh, we need a Wisconsin representative. Just send out Pow Pow. He's got
He
it.
got ninth in teams at Big House this weekend. So
Yeah, no, he's
shout out-
good. He's good. He lost to he lost to 8-Bit Man though. Like I was watching the set and it just seemed like he just had some problems with matchup unfamiliarity. But it's hard to get that with Rob when you didn't play Rob's constantly in 2015. Hashtag Rob Squad.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
Yeah,
Speaking of
actually,
nuke,
no.
speaking of nuke the vods.
Yeah,
But,
I'm just saying.
But we're gonna move on. So Crownless, our good friend Crownless King, who is always interactive with this podcast, except for tonight, where he did not say much. But in any case, he does
He
ask.
told me to shut up.
Yeah, he
say-
did. That was it. Rude. But anyways, he says, "Are we gonna see DLC costumes, skins, colors, such as which with BlazBlue tag? And if so, what costumes would Nintendo put in if they were a thing? Examples: Mario's outfit from Odyssey, Legendary Marth and Ike from Fire Emblem Heroes, Justin Bailey's ESS, Ness's PJs, even outfits from past games. Well, I would imagine so. I wish they would do something like Rivals did, where maybe you compete in certain things, or like you do certain things and you get skins for it. Maybe we'll see some of that with like the Nintendo Online service. Maybe we'll get some skins. I doubt it, but possibly. But yeah, I mean, hard to say. I don't have an uncle that works at Nintendo, So I don't have the inside
Lame.
track to this. I know,
Yeah,
man.
like,
That's
hey,
that's
man.
that's why my streams only get a few views.
Yeah, so like this is a weird topic because obviously like in a game like Smash, you're obviously gonna want to reference like big game characters, but that brings up copyright issues first. And the thing that I would say for this is like don't make them pay for it. Do not make them pay for it. That is a terrible idea. Add them in updates or just put them in the base games. Like we already saw that Yoshi is getting, and we know that Meta Ridley is coming. That wasn't a demo, and I think like something like that for every character would be cool. But maybe you like unlock them in whatever the secret mode is, which I think would be awesome. I think that's a perfect way to do that. But that's just me.
I agree.
Just no loot boxes, none of that crap.
Oh man, no loot boxes, please.
No loot
Well,
boxes.
you can already see they're kind of leaning in that direction because they did put 2 Odyssey costumes in for Mario.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
it's very clear that they're like they're trying to do that type of stuff. I'm actually surprised that they didn't do more of it.
Yet.
I'm surprised they didn't do more of it with like the DLC stuff. Because like, if I can get a fucking Chocobo hat, why can't I get a fucking costume?
Agreed.
Yeah,
like
I'm saying.
Can I get Cloud in a dress, please? I just need to see that. Please, for the love of God, I need to see that, in like fighting game form.
funny. That'd be the funniest custom skin in any game.
I would main Cloud.
Well,
forever,
You main
just
Cloud,
for
play
that.
dress Cloud.
Well, hey,
That's gonna be good.
guess what, guys? Speaking of cloud mains, Dark Blue is coming in with the
Whoa.
dank question of the week. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to inquire. With the current rise of presence of Tri-State players at Nationals, I present an important question that has concerned many at large. Are we out here? Could you please express your thoughts as to why or why not? Well, I do think, based upon, the recent evidence, and well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to inquire within. We appreciate your attention. I can honestly say we are indeed out here. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Upon conclusive evidence, we could definitely say we out here. And
Sir,
and the cool part is this is something we're mentioning, and this is something, especially as a New York native, you could feel proud of. You see like kind of waning locals all over the country, including some of the biggest ones seen on 2GG. We out here with consistent attendance and players that are very into their local scenes, including yourself, including Zeno, which is always seeing lots of attendance and lots of activity. Yeah, man, I think Tri-State, especially moving forward, I know on my end, kind of out for blood, so to speak, where, we definitely exist and we're kind of making this world our own here in our little area. So yeah, we out here for sure.
Like
yes.
we'll be even more out here if we actually get like Tri-State and soonish. Because like Let's Make Moves is going to be pretty big. My issue is having like consistently long majors because 2GG is obviously going to have a circuit for this game. It's not even a question. But like in Smash 4, it was actually a huge issue where Tri-State players that everybody knew were good could not make it out to SoCal because people who just like casually watch the game don't really know the Tri-State big events, and we don't have the money to make big events, and it's just an infinite loop of death and destruction. So I really hope that changes.
Living out here is expensive. Just
yeah. Tri-State is really, really expensive. Like
let's make this bread so that we can get like venues to like provide more bread.
And hey, I got another suggestion before we leave this. This came up a little earlier as we were talking about rivals. I think there might be a benefit to redefining Tri-State to what Tri-State actually is locationally. Just some food for thought here. Philly is not a state, nor is Pennsylvania a part of Tri-State. Connecticut is. Maybe we see the Northeast. Maybe we change up the whole structure in general. I don't know. But if we really want to be out here, I do think that there is definitely a lot of working together we can do. So I think we can.
Like Connecticut, bro. What?
They got
live in Connecticut or something, Chris? Like, what is going on?
No, dude, they got light. They got good players. I don't know why we wouldn't want to include them. Quite honestly.
I mean, there's no reason to not include. We could just call ourselves like something else. Like,
well, I just want to be the Northeast, and I just want each state to have. I want the Northeast, and I want each state to have their own representation, much like real sports. Like you have major cities, and they have their representation, and then you make divisions within them. Maybe Tri-State is a division within the Northeast. I don't know. You know, like,
Hashtag quad state.
Hashtag quad state. Hashtag quad state in the chat. Come on.
all right. Well, a topic for another day for sure. I'm not going to leave this one alone. But anyways, so SSV Black Ace, another active podcast viewer and supporter, with Smash having multiple ways to play and Switch having adapters that allow you to use controllers like the Xbone and DualShock, do you think there will be people that use these options to play Ultimate?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed. And I also think that it's going to be pending that the controllers function well on the Switch, which might or may not be an issue with like input lag, but hopefully not.
Yeah, because like I know that a lot of Rivals players, like just to use an example, want to pick up Ultimate. And 90% of them use Xbox controllers. And these adapters are not that expensive. They're actually really cheap. So you could just quickly get these. And I mean, obviously, if there's an lag situation, all of this is forfeit. But if there isn't, mad people are going to be using different controllers, especially with how big Smash is and how popular the Switch has gotten. People from other consoles are going to be flocking in. And this would be perfect.
So I got a take on this, actually. So I'm paraphrasing for the most part, but do you know, obviously something that's cool about the Switch Pro controller is that you can play it in a wired connection versus a wireless connection. And I actually found out through various sources that if you play with the controller wired, you actually get input delay.
I've heard this, unfortunately.
Yeah. So like they said, if these adapters can do that and it's a one-to-one thing, then why not? Because they've made these adapters for the Wii U. It's just like, I know local New Jersey TO RJ was going through a phase where he wanted to play with an Xbox controller for some reason, and he I remember a thread of him asking Jabali, he's like, hey, can I use this adapter on the Wii U? He's like, yeah, sure, but why wouldn't you just use a GameCube controller?
Good question.
Yeah, but I mean, hey,
tunnel, bro.
yeah, like the GameCube controller is great, but ergonomically, it's like playing video. Yeah, it's like playing video games with a fucking like. You ever seen those like metal things where like you put your hand in it and it makes an imprint?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're. Yep.
It's like playing Smash with one of those things.
Oh man. Well, yeah, so I don't know. It'll definitely depend on how the controllers work, but absolutely, I think that's actually a good question. But so Prime, the young man behind organizing the Rivals tournament at PSS 10, he asks, with how huge the current roster is for Ultimate, do you think that Nintendo will struggle to add new characters to the next Smash game after this, providing we get one, of course? Yeah, they're setting the bar pretty high there, because I don't know what the next game would look like. I would imagine we're going to get quite a few years out of this next one, and I don't even know how many characters to expect for this one. But what are we already at, like 73, 74 characters now?
72 if you count echoes and cut out 2.
Yeah, so that's a lot of characters. So that's getting pretty close to 100 there. I don't think there's any shortage of people they could add. They could totally just kind of keep adding, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I don't want to. It's just so many characters, but
I know that. I'm glad that Mussie's team. Mussie, I'm glad your team Master Chief, by the way.
Yeah, let's go. There was actually there was one Lee Jones out for him today, and I was just like, I know this is fake, but please. Show my Xbox again. All right.
Perfect timing. That was great.
So,
we heard that
so
too.
I really wanted to talk. I actually did want to talk about this a little bit, like on my other podcast. But what this is curious because I think Sakurai actually said in a Famitsu column that he doesn't think he could achieve this again. But yeah, I don't know what they would do for another game. It probably won't come out for another like 10 years.
It would, in my opinion, it would probably be like a Marvel 2 to Marvel 3 situation where it just downsize the roster and like just like keep the essentials.
Wow, that might be actually true. Now that you mentioned
if they make another one, I personally don't think that they should. To be honest with you,
I'm with you.
This is literally like the ultimate swan song. Like
super, and then the next console is just ultimate, super ultimate man person.
Where you can finally play as Green Mario.
Yeah, I'm saying the L Man is a new Echo Fighter.
Yeah.
Echo Fighter.
My take is I wish Hungry was here because he's the one that told me about this. But there was, I think it was another Famitsu article where like they said there's going to be a slowdown on characters coming out. And I feel like the slowdown actually started with Isabelle. So I feel like we're only going to get a handful of characters left. So Yeah, Master Chief.
Yeah, please.
Mic drop.
Like, actually, please now. Chris, don't talk because I know what you're gonna say. All right, what's the next question?
Next one, we're pretty much waning down here. These are a couple fun ones. Rickles asks, "Does BD love me?"
Big question. Big ups.
Big question. First of all, shout outs to Rickles. Rickles is great. If you're unfamiliar with Rickles, he is, I believe he is the man. I know there's a few people behind Hit Point tournaments, but I believe he is the main man driving force behind Hit Point tournaments in the Midwest. Putting out some pretty good events recently with Retro Arena, which did pretty well. That was actually, I think Yeti got second there, kind of
Yep.
getting Yeti primed up for the big house. But in either case, cool dude. But anyways, does Biddy love me? I don't know, man. I don't know if Biddy loves me either. He's not on this podcast. I think he was a little scared to talk Rivals or anything that wasn't Smash Brothers.
I'm saying, like,
But we forgive him for this week. I actually think he's streaming right now.
Yep.
So you could probably ask him there.
I love you. I love you, Rickles.
Dude, Rickles is very cool.
Rickles is cool. The man won a whole Arcadian.
With fucking Ganondorf.
And got a Diddy main complaining about Ganondorf. He's a god.
So good, man. And then to round this out, Travesty asks, how much can you bench? Man, no one ever asks about squat. I don't know, man. Like in my heyday or now I'm just sort of just repping stuff. I guess I don't really exceed 225. I mostly just I'll do reps of that. I think if push really came to shove, I might be able to hit like I could probably get you a good solid 3 reps of 275, but I don't know.
I don't know. I just do chest presses at the gym and call it a week.
Dang, y'all go to a gym? That's crazy.
But yeah, so that's
I'm out here doing construction work. I'm carrying trash.
That's actually like the ultimate. That's like the actual gym, man. That's like work that is real power work.
That's a large mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this isn't a question, but I'll take it here since it's just an advertisement because we are going to wrap it up right about now. Mr. M posting another nomination for Platinum Star 11, which will be the MHG Awards. And this is the Honorary Smash Award. Here we honor those from PA and New York who we consider to be part of our New Jersey Smash scene. What non-New Jersey players do you want to see nominated? Actually, since we got a non-New Jersey guy in here, what do you think, Musty? I mean, you've actually been pretty actively involved yourself.
I mean, I'm out here carpooling.
Yeah, dude.
I'm out here commentating. I'm out here
playing
occasionally.
Playing Rivals.
Playing Rivals, playing Dragon Ball. Most recently, Unist. I'm out here doing stuff, man. I'm out here doing things.
It's true. I mean, it.
I mean, I'd be a pretty good nominee if I do say so myself. Vote,
John.
Oh, also, yeah, vote in the midterms. Holy crap, vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of votes, yeah.
Yeah, that's
please.
it's
God, vote. Oh,
you would have think to hear that on a Smash Brothers podcast, but for the love of God, register to vote, please.
Like if you're in PA, it's already too late. Stay, do it. Like, holy shit, vote.
Yeet.
Holy shit, vote. Holy shit, yeet. I'm saying.
Well, so yeah, guys, vote, and I think that's gonna do it for tonight. I'll be honest with you. Actually, kind of this was good conversation tonight. It was nice, kind of talking about something that wasn't Smash particular, even though we were talking about Smash inspired things.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. I guess there's a ton of stuff coming up. I'm not gonna go through everything, as I mentioned, the MHG Awards, which will be taking place at Platinum Star 11 the first Saturday of next month, which will be the 3rd. There's Scarlet Smackdown coming this week, kind of coming out of nowhere, but has a good following already. There will be College Cruise. It is a CSL sponsored event, which means there is money there for winners.
Party at Tim's house.
That's right. And then let's see, the week after that is Xenosaga Monthly. You'll see that scrolling through the ads there. And then after that is Prism, which
Also, on that same October 20th, that same weekend is East Coast Throwdown in Fairfield. So if you're into that shit, go through because that event's a lot of fun. I don't enter, but I go because it's literally 10 minutes away from my house.
Oh, really?
And yeah. I live like 10 minutes from Fairfield. It's like
nice.
Literally like I like delivered Chinese or pizza to that hotel before. So yeah, the event was a lot of fun. Li Joe's the one that puts it together, and I think this is the first year it has DBZ or it has Dragon Ball Fighters, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. Might stop by to watch on Sunday, get that young spectators pass, but definitely check that out if you live in the area.
Yeah, man, and these are all the fighting games that aren't Smash, so there's a whole world out there of other fighting games.
If y'all want to punch people in something that isn't Smash Brothers, you have a lot of options.
That's
I mean, hell, you could just punch them in the face. I mean, like,
not
you got a lot of choices.
Hell, man, it's not recommended, but like, yeah, you could totally do it. It is a free country.
Yep.
But
You sure about that?
I no.
Nuke the VOD.
Nuke the VOD.
Nuke the VOD.
But anyways, yeah. So that's it from us. Do you guys got any closing remarks?
Well, thank you guys for having me. If you ever want to have me on again, just let me know. I'll gladly come on again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
sure.
It was definitely great to have you. Thank you very much, especially this is a late week.
The people wanted more Philly representation, so we're people pleasers.
Yeah, it's
Of course.
good, man. And then, yeah, definitely would like to have you on more again, moving in the future. And why don't you go ahead and give your podcast a plug, yours and Justy's, before we sign out here?
It's been a little bit inactive lately because there hasn't been any like huge like Smash breakthroughs as of these past couple weeks. But it is going to on at Justy7S on Twitch. It's called
I feel like I know the name of this.
Endgame.
And that's it.
The Endgame podcast featuring me, Jack, Justin, Blizz, and Gump.
Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
that is everybody. And come on, check out our podcast. Check me out on Twitter at MustyPlaysDBFZ. We tweet shit posts and tweet some awful things sometimes. So make sure you come through. And I also stream as well, twitch.tv/MustyProngs. I play Eunice and Dragon Ball. I'm playing down Rivals for a little bit until Game Maker Studio 2 is a bit more stable. But if you want to come catch me playing some 2D fighters for whatever reason, you can come and do that.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks again.
No problem, man.
Shout out to Rivals of Aether. I had a lot of fun. I want to buy the game, but I want to wait for it to go on sale so I can buy everything. So
yeah, it goes on sale pretty regularly. Like I think
it does.
It was $3 for the game and then $2.50 for all the DLC or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna wait for that because I'm trying to be the best Shovel Knight in my house. So
neutral aerial.
Yeah, I'm ready to mash that A button until my fucking fingers fall off.
It's fucking time.
Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter. Obviously, everyone that watches is probably regular. You know where to find me. I don't know what my big plans are because the fall's kind of an awkward time because I'm trying to do like real lifey stuff. I'll also do tournament stuff, but you can catch me at all the MHG events and stuff like that. So, fuck Bayonetta. That's all I got.
Well, amen to that, brother.
Well, maybe you won't be able to say that for much longer. At least maybe for another like month and a half.
At least not in like the
2
bad
months.
sense.
Yeah, well, sure.
Cough, cough.
No, we're just gonna be saying, fuck getting hit.
Fuck walking.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna go ahead and turn you over to House of 3000 now, which probably should be towards the tail end of their bracket, so you can check that out. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next week. Oh wait, actually, before I totally sign out, you could ask us stuff. We do have a Discord server. Make sure you use that. You could find that link underneath this broadcast if you are watching, or if you're on YouTube, you could still find it on the YouTube page. There's a link for it. Interact with us, man. I mean, this is kind of a show made for everyone in this area to take advantage of. We do want to have more guests, but we're only really going to be taking guests that are like actively like speaking to us because we know what they want to talk about. So yeah, with that being said, thanks. Give us any kind of feedback you have. Always like to hear it. And with that, here is Zeno.
See ya.
Bye.